and there was much rejoicing.
Are you Mr. DeCastro?
And,
Can you turn off your phone, please? The one that's in
I'm
your hand?
just communicating with my lawyer. He's on his way here now. So I'm just waiting for him to get there.
All right. I need Mr. DeCastro to empty all of his pockets.
What's that?
Empty your pockets and give up your phones to the judge.
I have to give you my phones?
Yeah.
My phones have to be completely off.
Yep. I don't really want to be part of your YouTube channel. So.
You already are.
Great.
You already are.
Awesome.
I'm not going to get into this guy though. I'll give him someone else. I'm
No,
not touching myself.
no, they're gonna go to my marshal.
He's a pig.
Excuse me? Sir, I'm not gonna permit you to speak to anybody in my courtroom in that manner. And if you don't want to apologize, I'm gonna hold you in contempt.
I apologize to the court, Your Honor.
No, you can apologize to, they've done nothing to you.
Actually, Your Honor, when you were here, you came over and gave me a directive for no reason and started telling me what to do.
Okay,
I
well,
have all the respect and love for the court. I follow the rule of law all the time.
no, it is their job to maintain the safety and security of the courtroom.
I agree with you, Your Honor.
So, if you want to speak like that in my courtroom, I'm gonna hold you in contempt. And if I hold you in contempt, you're going to jail. That is not my wish.
I
Okay?
wish you could.
All right. So I need you to empty your pockets too. Suit pocket, pants pocket.
This is illegal. This is a violation of my Fourth Amendment.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. I don't have any recording devices on me. What are you talking about?
How about suit jacket?
I don't have anything on me. This is preposterous.
No, it's
This really
not.
is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Mean, your phone too. Off.
They're recording everything.
They have a media request.
Right, and I'm not recording anything. Your guy here took my phone, so he's not, his phone's not on.
Right.
You can take the lawyer's phone too?
No, I'm not going to take the lawyer's phone. He's an officer of the court. All right. Do we have everybody's phones? Are they off? All right. Good. All right.
You have to testify before Judge Zimmerman today.
Yes, I had an unrelated person come over to start recording the traffic stop.
Okay. Unrelated individual coming over to, your stop.
Yes,
Okay. Can you describe this individual?
he was a white male adult. He was wearing bright colored hoodie and blue jeans.
Okay. That individual, do you see him here in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point to him and describe something he's wearing?
He's wearing a suit and a blue tie.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect identification of the defendant.
So
And so, what do you do upon seeing this individual approach the driver of the vehicle that stopped?
Initially, when I saw him, he was just reporting. I ignored him, continued my records check. Then when he came over to the driver and started speaking with them, I got out of the car, approached the driver, and told DeCastro to back up.
Okay. When you first noticed, so you identified the unknown or unrelated male subsequently, correct?
Yes,
And what was his name?
Jose DeCastro?
Okay. And that's the individual you identified here in court.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you first laid eyes on the defendant, approximately how far away was he from the driver of the vehicle in the Hyundai?
Approximately somewhere within 5 to 10 feet.
Don't engage my driver, back up. Hey, back up. Back up, you're not involved. Listen. You can film, but you need to stay away from my driver. Back up. Back up or I'm going to detain you.
And why is it that you did that, officer?
Well, I can't have unrelated people next to my traffic stops. I don't know if he's a dangerous person, armed, he could be a boyfriend of the stopped person. It's for my safety and the safety of the person I stopped.
Okay, because you're also in charge of the safety of the individual that this unrelated individual is making contact with, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And so you saw it as an officer safety issue as well as a safety issue for the driver?
Yes.
Okay.
To bring a knife to a gunfight. But if you were standing in front of me with a knife in your hand and I've got a gun in my holster, I think I'm in danger. What we want to know is what is the minimum distance at which a knife is in fact dangerous to a person with a gun?
A sprinting, screaming Heineman is what nightmares are made of. But at this distance, it was Adam who won the duel. Just barely. So Jamie shifts the start line to 20 feet.
All right, my safety's on. Gun is loaded.
And so when you approached, well, you said he was recording, the defendant was recording. At any time, did you tell him to stop recording?
No, in fact, I told him he can continue recording.
Okay. He can continue to record given what?
As long as he backed up and gave me an appropriate distance.
Okay.
You can film, but you need to stay away from my driver. Back up.
Tell that person to let her go.
I just said that she was free to go, simply.
And subsequently, did you turn your attention on the defendant?
Yes.
And can you tell Judge Zimmerman the nature of your interaction with the defendant after that?
I ordered DeCastro to the front of my patrol vehicle while pointing at it and told him it was detained.
And what was the purpose of detaining him?
For obstructing my initial traffic stop at the Hyundai.
Okay. And did he obey your lawful order?
No, he did not.
And what happened next?
He continued filming me. I continued pointing toward my patrol vehicle, continued telling him he was detained. All the while, he just continued shifting his body around, recording me on the phone, and refusing to go to the car.
Okay. So what did you do in response?
I used my hand to escort him to the patrol vehicle, so I placed my hand on his shoulder, and at that point, he swatted my hand away.
And what happened next?
That's when I grabbed him by the shirt, and I spun him around, and then we ended up at the front of my patrol vehicle. We were both still standing.
At some point, did you request additional units to respond to the scene?
I did, that was before I grabbed him,
Okay.
when I initially detained him.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, once you had him at your patrol vehicle, or the front, the hood of your patrol vehicle, what happened next?
Officer Dingley, another officer in the area, had arrived, and he came over to help me handcuff.
Okay. And were you successful, or did the defendant cooperate in being handcuffed?
He did not cooperate. I told him 7 times to face my patrol vehicle. He did not listen. I told him 6 times to turn around. He did not listen. It wasn't until I told him that he was going to go to jail, that was the consequence of not listening, that he allowed us to handcuff.
Okay.
Over to my car right now.
Don't put
Come
your
over.
fucking hands on
Listen,
me.
I am going to put my hands on
No,
you.
you're not.
Control through Robert 1.
I gotta make sure. Hey guys, make sure you guys get my people on the phone.
I have an obstructive male here who's filming me.
So you ended the
detaining
stop.
him.
So that's
Yeah.
2015.
Come over here to my car. Come over here. I need additional
Bring
units.
your
I need this obstructive.
Bring your supervisor, please. Don't
Come
touch
over to the
me.
car.
You don't get
I am going to
hands
grab
on me.
you.
Don't
You are
grab
going to go
me.
to the
Don't
ground.
grab me.
Listen,
You're
you are
not-
detained right
No,
now.
first get your supervisor out here. You're not just
I don't
gonna
need a
grab
code
me
red,
and throw
but
me
you
on the
can
ground.
arguing with
You've
me.
already
I just need
released them.
additional
You've
units.
already released them. This is 2015 Rodriguez versus United States.
Come over to my car.
I'll walk right in front of your car.
I am Officer Bork. You're being detained for obstruction. You need to set the phone down on the hood.
I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can't take away
Set
my
the phone down on the hood.
I'm now.
You're being detained. Now you're going to put hands on me?
No,
Come over here.
Why are you grabbing me?
Come over here.
Sure.
Good morning, officer. How are you today?
Morning, sir. I'm well. How are you?
Very well. How many feet did you order the defendant to back up specifically?
I never had an opportunity to give him an exact distance.
How far back did you intend to have him back up even if you didn't express that?
In the background of the video, you can see that there was a parked semi-truck and a light pole. I would have directed him somewhere in that area, which would have been outside the 21 feet.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Great. This is the first time you've experienced a First Amendment issue of this nature in your career?
Objection. I believe I objected to that question when it was posed as a violent encounter and it was sustained. And I also objected on the grounds of relevance. As the court indicated, what we're concerned about is his interaction with the defendant specifically. And so I object.
Statement, we're concerned about this interaction.
5 minutes later.
Reiterate. Your testimony is that
Objection. I mean, anytime it's prefaced as just to reiterate, I feel like I should object on an asked and answered ground. And I'm not, just to hear it, but it just sounds like a reiteration of the questions that have been previously asked. So my objection is asked and answered.
I'm going to ask this question before I rule on the objection.
again, I'm just trying to clarify because I think this point was ambiguous, but do you recall the defendant telling you that he was a member of the press during the interaction?
Ask and answer.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the state rest?
At this point, we do.
Does the defense have any witnesses?
Your Honor, I call Jose de Castro.
No.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Please be seated.
Mr. De Castro, before you testify, I'm obligated to inform you that you have the right to testify in this proceeding, but you also have the right to remain silent, and should you choose to remain silent, I may not hold that against you in making my decision. Do you understand that?
I do.
Do you still wish to testify?
Yes, I do.
All right, please go ahead.
You have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do.
Can you give some insight into what that channel is about?
Objection, relevance.
Can you give insight into that?
I'm going to allow it for a bit and see where it goes.
Yes, I do have I do have a YouTube channel, and the reason I have a YouTube channel is because of how many cops kill people every year, how many cops hurt, maim, torture, rape, and kill people every single year. It's such an epidemic that the rest of the world, I get thousands of emails saying, only in America does this happen. I started filming cops because when I was cheated in 2002 and
Objection at this point, relevance,
well, this is really a member of the press.
this narrative.
So can you ask him a question?
Yes, Your Honor.
Narrative.
So can you ask him a question?
Yes, Your Honor.
I never know.
Initially, I told him no, but then when he began to get physical with me and start to grab me and touch me, I said, okay, I'll go over to your car. His car was 35 feet away. I then led him to his car. It's on video, you can see it. I would walk right up to his car, and then he insisted still on grabbing me. After he saw me pull out an additional phone, which that's what press people do. We have lots of cameras on us.
And did you inform the officer that you were a member of the press?
Oh, several times. It's in the transcripts. I've transcribed them myself. Several times I told him I'm a member of the press.
And did you explain to the officer that you have a background in constitutional law?
Yes, I told him I'm a constitutional law scholar, which was the moniker given to me by other people who are also, they have their own channels, their own press, And that's what some other lawyers on another channel called me 3 years ago. And I since adapted the moniker.
And why do you think that law enforcement traffic stops are relevant to the public?
That's where most people get killed.
Objection relevance. Stating that question. Who's just right?
Stating.
I'll pass the
10 seconds later.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
State.
I have no questions for this witness.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Problem with the defendant observing. It was when he inserted himself into this lawful detention that was occurring with the hunting driver that the officer turned his attention onto the defendant. This is not a First Amendment issue. This is an individual who took what he perceived to be his rights too far. The officer was well within his right as well as acting reasonably when he asked him to back up. That 21-foot rule, it's appropriate.
Yes, Your Honor. So first of all, you cannot obstruct an unlawful order. I disagree with the state that this is not a First Amendment issue. The First Amendment in this context actually has two parts. There's the filming and the right to film within 8 feet for reasonable distance. The case law in all the federal circuits, Your Honor, there's no 21 feet rule that's been approved by any court of which I'm aware. That there is a 10-foot rule. That seems to be the rule that is applied by most of the federal circuits in interpreting the First Amendment. I submitted a bench brief that kind of goes through that issue, if the courts have a chance to review that.
I don't have that. When did you submit it?
It was submitted yesterday, Your Honor.
I mean, at this point, I would move to strike because it's untimely, but I got it this morning when I walked into court.
Go ahead.
Essentially arresting him for violating these unlawful orders that they're pronouncing. Again, the case law is you can passively resist an unlawful arrest, and that's all that currently does. Thank you.
All right, Mr. DeCastro, please stand. The problem with the argument that your attorney makes is it completely fails to consider the safety of the officer and the safety of the driver. The officer doesn't know who you are, and the driver doesn't know who you are. And you don't have any right to interfere with that officer doing his investigation and deciding if he wants to issue a ticket to this driver. And you also don't have any business approaching the driver. The driver didn't ask you for help. The driver didn't say, help, help, you know. You didn't see an altercation happening between the officer and this driver. The officer didn't protest that you were filming. There's no problem with filming. You can film, it's fine, all right? But you did interfere with his investigation. You did interfere with his ability to do his job. You did put him in a position where he is concerned for his safety and the safety of the driver. So I believe the state's met their burden beyond reasonable doubt. I'm going to find you guilty of obstructing a public officer and resisting a public officer. So I'd like to hear from the state and then your attorney prior to sentencing.
Your Honor, in terms of sentencing, I would ask the defendant enter and complete an impulse control class. I would ask that the court levy a $500 fine or the equivalent of community service. I would ask that the defendant be ordered to stay out of trouble for the pendency of the case. And I would ask for a 90-day suspended sentence. And that's on as to each count to one concurrent. That's our request.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm asking the court to sentence the defendant to credit for time served for these offenses. Even if the court concludes, and the court did conclude that he didn't have the right to do what he did, I think the court can see that he sincerely believed that he had the right to do so. That's based on his past experiences and the training he's received in reference to the First Amendment. I don't think there was any intent from the defendant to engage in any wrongdoing in this case, Your Honor. And that being the case, especially because of the public policy interests at issue.
So when you say he doesn't wish to engage in any wrongdoing, it seems to me from observing him in the video that he wants this. He wants to get arrested. He wants to get into an altercation with police officers. He welcomes this. This helps his YouTube channel. He called the officers here in my courtroom today pigs. He called and he's nodding his head up and down. So apparently he hates every law enforcement officer in the United States. All right, please stand up, sir. Are you finished with your request for credit for time served?
I would just emphasize, Your Honor, that the defendant testified and he sincerely believes that he is providing a public service when he reviews and films these incidents. I understand the court may have a different view of that, but when we're talking about First Amendment public policy issues such as supervising people involved in government, I think that is something the court can take into consideration, not to show that I've done that. Let's do it.
Mr. Castro, please stand. I hereby sentence you to 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 1, 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 2, to run consecutive for a total of 180 days in custody.
Suspended or?
Oh no, I'm going to start right now.
Can you proceed, please? I'm back to the show. This is Travis,